The dare and the stranger, the music was too loud, the vodka too cheap, and the ache in her chest too sharp to ignore. Emma pressed her palms against her ears, trying to drown out the laughter around her. 3 days ago, her fiancé had walked out, taking his things and her trust with him. "It's not you," he'd said, which was the cruelest lie of all. Because if it wasn't her, why had he left? Truth or dare? Her friend Mira slurred, leaning too close. "Dare," Emma said. Because the truth was too heavy to carry tonight, Mira grinned. The penthouse suite at the Astoria. 1 hour in the bed. No clothes. The group erupted in giggles. Emma's face burned, but the tequila in her veins hissed, "Why not?" She wasn't the reckless type she colored inside the lines paid her. Bills on time, believed in love before it gutted her, but tonight she wanted to feel anything but this hollowed-out version of herself. The elevator ride was a blur. The penthouse door was slightly ajar, as if fate had left it open just for her. The suite was dark, all cool marble and city lights bleeding through the windows. The bed was massive, the sheets crisp and untouched. 1 hour, she told herself, slipping out of her dress. The dare was stupid, but the numbness it promised was worth it. She didn't hear the door open, didn't feel the shift in the air until the mattress dipped behind her. "You're not the usual intruder." The voice was low, rough with sleep, and utterly calm. Emma froze. A man's arm brushed against her bare back as he settled beside her. She should have screamed, should have bolted. But his presence was strangely still, like he wasn't surprised. "To find her here? I didn't think anyone was here," she whispered, clearly. He turned his head, and even in the dim light, she could see the sharp cut of his jaw, the shadow of stubble. His eyes were the color of storm clouds. "Who dared you? How did he know?" Her pulse hammered. "It was a joke. I'll go relax." He exhaled, rolling onto his back. "I don't bite." Silence stretched between them. Emma clutched the sheet to her chest, waiting for anger, for security to drag her out. But the man just... Not like she was a trespasser, but like she was a puzzle he couldn't solve. "You're shaking," he observed. "Cold," she lied. He reached for the blanket at the foot of the bed and draped it over her. His fingers grazed her shoulder just. A brush, but it sent a shock of warmth through her. "Lucas Kane," he said. Emma blinked. Yes. The Lucas Kane. Tech mogul. Billionaire. The man who hadn't been photographed in years. Emma breathed. He studied her for a long moment. Then, to her shock, he smiled, just a faint tilt of his lips. "Go to sleep, Emma. We'll talk in the morning." Wanted to argue, to flee. But the bed was too warm, his presence too steady, and before she could stop herself, she drifted off naked, in a stranger's arms. With the first peace she'd felt in months, Emma woke to the scent of coffee and the slow, steady sound of rain against glass. For a moment, she forgot where she wasn't till she shifted and felt the unfamiliar softness of silk sheets against her bare skin. Oh God, last night rushed back the dare. The penthouse, the man in the bed. Lucas Kane. She bolted upright, clutching the blanket to her chest. The other side of the bed was empty, but the imprint of his body remained. The room was bathed in gray morning light, the city below hidden behind a curtain of rain. A soft knock at the door made her jump. "You awake?" His voice was rough, quieter than last night. Emma swallowed. Yes. The door opened and Lucas stepped in, dressed in a black t-shirt and dark jeans, his hair slightly damp. He held 2 mugs of coffee. His gaze flickered over her tangled hair, bare shoulders. The way her fingers gripped the sheets like a lifeline, but his expression gave nothing away. "Black," said, handing her one of the mugs. "Unless you take sugar?" "No, black is fine." She took it, careful not to let their fingers touch. He leaned against the dresser, watching her. "You sleep okay?" She almost laughed. "Did I sleep okay?" I was naked in a stranger's bed. But the truth was, she had slept deeply, dreamlessly, for the first time in weeks. "Yeah," she admitted. "You?" A faint smirk. "Than expected." Silence settled between them. heavy but not uncomfortable. Emma sipped the coffee, bracing herself for the inevitable get out. Never come back. I'm calling security. Instead, Lucas set his mug down and crossed his arms. You want to tell me why you really did it? She hesitated. It was just a stupid dare bullshit. His voice wasn't harsh, just certain. You don't strike me as the type to break into a stranger's penthouse for fun. Emma exhaled, staring into her coffee. What was the point of lying? He'd see right through it anyway. My fiancé left me, she said quietly.
3
days ago, found him in our bed with my best friend. Lucas didn't react, just listened. I didn't even fight, she continued, hating how small her voice sounded. I just packed his things and told him to get out. Last night, my friends dragged me to a party and I just wanted to feel something else, even if it was reckless. Lucas was silent for a long moment. Then, to her surprise, he said, My wife died 4 years ago. Plane crash. Emma's breath caught. I haven't let anyone in this room since, he admitted, glancing at the bed. Until you. She didn't know what to say. I'm sorry felt too small. Lucas pushed off the dresser. Get dressed. There's a robe in the bathroom. She blinked. You're not kicking me out? He paused at the door, looking back at her. Come back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Why? Because I want to talk. Emma sat there, clutching the coffee, heart pounding. She should leave and never look back. This was insane. But when she slipped into the robe, smelling faintly of cedar and something warm, she realized something terrifying. She wanted to come back. Emma arrived at 10:02 a.m. She hadn't meant to be late, but her hands had shaken too badly to tie her shoes properly the first time. The elevator ride up felt longer than yesterday, her reflection in the polished doors betraying the nervous flutter. In her chest, what am I doing? The doors opened directly into Lucas's penthouse. No lobby, no security, just his private space, waiting. He stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, back to her, phone pressed to his ear. Sharp edges and quiet authority. Move the meeting. No, I don't care. Emma hovered awkwardly near the elevator, unsure if she should interrupt. Then, without turning, Lucas said, Sit. Coffee's on the table. Had he heard the elevator? Seen her reflection in the glass? She didn't ask, just moved to the sleek marble counter, where a mug sat steaming beside a small plate of pastries. He ended the call and turned. Today he wore a charcoal sweater that made his eyes look even grayer, his sleeves pushed up to reveal strong forearms and a silver watch. His gaze flicked over her loose sweater, faded jeans, hair hastily braided before settling on her face. You? She wrapped her hands around the mug. You knew I would. Faint smirk. Hopeful guess. Silence stretched, but it wasn't uncomfortable. Lucas grabbed his own coffee and leaned against the counter beside her. Close enough that she caught the scent of his Collinsaw, thing dark and expensive. Why did you invite me back? She asked. He swirled his coffee. You didn't scream. Didn't try to sell the story. Didn't even ask for money. That's a low bar. You'd be surprised. His thumb brushed the rim of his mug, and you looked. Lost. The way I felt 4 years ago. Emma's chest tightened. She thought of the empty apartment she'd returned to last night, the silence louder than any argument. So what now? She asked. Lucas shrugged. We drink coffee, talk, or don't. And just like that, it began. 3 weeks later, Emma's mornings had become something sacred. She'd arrive at 10, sometimes with croissants from the bakery near her apartment, once with a half-finished sketchbook when she couldn't sleep. Was always there, always waiting, though he never said so. They didn't talk much. Some days she sketched while he worked, the scratch of her pencil blending with the tap of his keyboard. Other days they sat in silence, watching the city wake. Up below them, but today, she fell asleep. She hadn't meant to, but the couch was too soft, the rain against the windows too steady, and when she woke, there was a blanket over her and Lucas sitting in the armchair across from her, watching. How long was I out? She mumbled, rubbing her eyes. An hour. His voice was rough. She sat up, mortified. Why didn't you wake me? He didn't answer right away. Just reached for the coffee table where 2 fresh mugs sat. You looked like you needed it. Emma took the mug he offered, their fingers brushing. A spark shot up her arm, but Lucas didn't react. Just settled back into his chair. You're different here, she said suddenly. His brow arched. In your office photos, you look colder. Lucas sipped his coffee. Cameras lie.
Do.
They. He set his mug down, eyes locking onto hers. You tell me? Do I seem like the man from the magazines? Emma studied him, the faint stubble, the way his sweater stretched across his shoulders, the quiet intensity in his gaze. No, she admitted. A pause, then softer, good. And in that moment she realized something dangerous she liked. This version of him is the one who didn't fill silences, who remembered how she took her coffee, who let her sleep on his couch without question, the one no one else got to see. Next morning, arrived to find Lucas already at the door, holding it open. You're early, she said. You're predictable. She rolled her eyes but stepped inside, then froze. The living room was different. A thick rug now covered the cold marble floor, the same deep blue as the blanket he'd draped over her yesterday. Lucas didn't explain, just walked past her. To the kitchen, Emma bit her lip to hide her smile. I hate cold floors. Get a rug. Her note from last week. He'd listened. Emma knew something was wrong the moment she stepped off the elevator. Lucas stood at the windows, shoulders tense, phone pressed to his ear in a way that screamed damage control. The energy in the penthouse was different charged, like the air. Before a storm, she set down her coffee and sketchbook quietly. He turned, and the look in his eyes made her stomach drop. Someone took a photo, he said, voice low. Emma froze. Of what? Of you leaving here last week? Her fingers curled into her palms. How bad is it? Lucas exhaled through his nose and turned his phone toward her. The headline blared. Billionaire? Lucas Kane's mystery woman. Who is the girl sneaking out at dawn? Below it, a blurry but unmistakable shot of Emma stepping out of the Astoria's private elevator, her hair messy, wearing Lucas's oversized hoodie. Her throat tightened. Do they know it's me? Not yet, but they will.
Ass!
His voice was calm, but his grip on the phone was white-knuckled. I have people working to take it down. Emma sank onto the couch, her mind racing. She'd been careful always leaving separately, never staying past morning. But one careless moment, one unseen camera, and now? What happens when they find out? She whispered. Lucas sat beside her, close, but not touching. They'll dig. They'll assume things. His jaw tightened. They'll come for you. She knew what that meant. The whispers, the assumptions. Gold digger, mistress. Another rich man's plaything. Emma stood abruptly pacing to the window. The city sprawled below, oblivious. I should go. Before this gets worse. Lucas was silent for a long moment. Then, is that what you want? The question hung between them. Emma turned to face him. What I want doesn't matter. You have a reputation, a company. I won't be the reason. Let me decide what I'm willing to lose, he interrupted, voice rough. Her breath caught. Lucas stood, crossing to her in 3 strides. For the first time since they'd met, he reached for her, not to pull her close, just to brush his thumb over her clenched fist. I don't care what they think, he said quietly. Emma looked up at him, really looked, at the stubborn set of his jaw, the storm in his eyes, the way his touch burned through her like lightning. That's the problem, she whispered. I do. 2 days later, the article went viral. Emma saw it everywhere. Her university's gossip forums, Twitter threads dissecting her clothes, her posture, the implications of that hoodie. A classmate snapped a photo of her in the library and posted it with the caption, "Found Kane's late-night study buddy. Her phone buzzed non-stop. Unknown number. How much does he pay you? Mira, Emma, call me. Professor Aldridge. My office now." Lucas called 12 times. She sent each one to voicemail. His penthouse 317 Amucus slammed. His glass down hard enough to crack the bar counter. His head of security cleared his throat. We've issued cease and desists to the major outlets. Universities agreed to. Don't give a damn about the university. Lucas's voice was deadly calm. Find her. She's not answering her phone for a reason, sir. Lucas turned, his expression making the man step back, then looked harder. Emma's apartment, 4:02 a.m. She packed one bag. It's just the essential sketchbook. Laptop. The stupidly soft cashmere sweater Lucas had left at her place last week. Her roommate. Watched from the doorway. You're really running? Emma zipped the bag with more force than necessary. I'm not running. I'm surviving. And him? Her hands stilled. What was there to say? That she'd started falling for a man who carried grief like armor. That the quiet mornings had become the best part of her life. She couldn't bear to watch him burn his world down for her. Emma slung the bag over her shoulder. Tell him I'm sorry. Voss Tower, 6:48 a.m. Lucas found the note on his kitchen counter. 3 words. In her messy script. I'm sorry. He crumpled it in his fist, then stopped. Slowly, he smoothed the paper back out, tracing the ink with his thumb. For the first time in 4 years, Lucas Kane felt something break. The art studio smelled of turpentine and old wood, the only place left in the city where Emma could hide. For 3 weeks, she'd ignored calls, deleted messages, and buried herself in work charcoal sketches that grew darker with each passing. Day to night, rain hammered against the windows as she smudged shadows across a half-finished portrait. His jawline, his storm-gray eyes. She hated that her hands remembered the exact curve of his frown. The door creaked open behind her. I paid your landlord $5,000 to tell me where you were. Emma's charcoal snapped in half. Lucas stood in the doorway, drenched from the storm, his white dress shirt clinging to his shoulders. He looked older, dark circles under his eyes, stubble shadowing his jaw, but his gaze burned as fiercely as ever. You shouldn't be here, she whispered. He stepped inside, water dripping. Onto the warped floorboards. Neither should you. The space between them crackled with unsaid words. Emma wiped her hands on her jeans, leaving black streaks. I left for a reason. I know. Lucas moved closer, eyes darting to the sketches scattered across her desk all. Of him, you think you're protecting me, aren't I? She gestured to her phone, still buzzing with notifications. They won't stop, Lucas. Every detail of my life is... I don't care. He gripped the back of her chair, leaning down until their faces were inches apart. Let them talk. Let them write their goddamn articles. None of it matters. Emma's breath hitched. Your company will survive. His thumb brushed a smudge of charcoal off her cheek. But I won't, not without you. The raw honesty in his voice shattered her. She stood abruptly, chair screeching. You don't get it. I'm nobody. A broke art student who stumbled into your bed because of a stupid dare. The world will always see me that way. Lucas caught her wrist, pulling her close. The world, he said roughly, is full of idiots. Then he kissed her, not gentle, not careful, claiming a confession, lips and teeth, and for weeks of pent-up longing. Emma gasped into his mouth, hands fisting his soaked shirt as he backed her against the desk. Sketches fluttering to the floor. When they broke apart, Lucas pressed his forehead to hers. Come home. Emma closed her eyes. What if it's not enough?
I
Smiled the real one, the one only she ever saw. We'll drink terrible coffee and find out. Outside, the rain slowed to a whisper, and just like that, Emma knew some risks were worth taking. Epilogue 1 year later, the Vanity Fair headline read, Reclusive billionaire Lucas Kane steps out with artist girlfriend at gallery opening. The photo showed Lucas in a black tux, his arm wrapped possessively around Emma's waist as she grinned beside her first major exhibition, a series of charcoal portraits titled Quiet Mornings. When reporters asked how they met, Lucas just smirked. Emma handed them pre-printed cards that read, None of your damn business. And that night, in their penthouse with the city lights twinkling below, Lucas traced the bare skin of Emma's shoulder and murmured, Told you we'd be okay. She kissed him. Because some stories didn't need words, just 2 people.